What's up, all you beautiful people? This is your second stimulus check update. This is your second stimulus package update for Tuesday, September the 8th. Happy Tuesday, you guys. I totally hope that you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. And as usual, we've got a lot to cover, so let's jump immediately right into it. So we've heard from President Trump. He actually says he wants to send out stimulus checks immediately. I'm going to share with you guys all of the details on that second round of stimulus checks. We've got new information with regard to the unemployment insurance benefits, the added unemployment insurance benefits that go on top of your state benefits. Many states are actually sending them out. I'm going to give you guys the updates on that. $900 payments are actually going out this week. I'm going to give you the updates on that. For those of you guys who actually joined the live yesterday, I just want to say what's up and thank you for hanging out with me yesterday. That was completely unplanned. It was a great time. I thought it was probably going to be about 10 minutes, lasted a whole lot longer than that. I had a great time, and I just wanted to say, I really appreciate the support. Yesterday, we covered a lot of ground, and I want to ask you guys who were on the live yesterday, did you actually take advantage of the information that I shared with you? How many of you guys actually made changes in your lives as of yesterday and perhaps this morning? Drop me a comment down below. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, my name is Ron. I cover all things personal finance, investing, how to generate multiple streams of income. So if you're interested in any of that, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also, I had a couple of comments from yesterday, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a couple people. You guys were asking specifically about California. A number of you guys were asking about California. Eric Perez asked, is there any news for California? Colette Jenkins Cato, I apologize if I messed up your name. You asked, what about additional unemployment for the state of California? And so since these questions came up, let's jump immediately into the unemployment segment of the show. So California actually began sending out $300 unemployment benefits as of this week. And in fact, California actually started off by sending $900 payments in the form of federal benefits for those who lost their job as a result of the virus. Now, the reason why these guys got $900 payments is they were getting caught up. These were retroactive payments. So those initial payments for those who qualified for them received a $900 payment for their unemployment insurance benefits. So that was 3 weeks that they got caught back up on. Now, subsequent payments would be $300, but those initial payments were actually $900. As you know, the federal unemployment insurance benefits expired that were paying $600 per week. Those expired on July 31st. And so these payments that are going out right now are from the LWA, which is called the Lost Wages Assistance Program. Thanks to President Donald Trump, who signed off on multiple executive actions probably about 3 to 4 weeks back. And ultimately, those permitted an additional $300 for unemployment insurance benefits since they had expired as a result of Congress not being able to come to an agreement on being able to extend those $600 payments. So that's what we're seeing those from. Now, really quick update on those unemployment insurance benefits. Right now, or as of Friday, there are now 45 states that have actually been approved to be able to send out those $300 payments. So, for those of you guys who are wondering, more than likely your state has now been approved. But if in case you're wondering, because I don't want to go through the entire list, it'll kind of bore everyone. I'll drop a link down below and you'll be able to see the complete up-to-date list on all of the states that are finally approved to be able to send out these $300 payments. Now, one thing that's not really being discussed is the fact that these payments are actually coming from the FEMA fund. Now, this FEMA fund is for emergencies, right? Natural disasters and things like that. We had a natural disaster in between Texas and Louisiana with Hurricane Laura, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. But anyway, so here's the problem. These are not unlimited funds. So the states that signed up early and got approved early and started sending the payments out early, those residents are actually going to get the biggest benefit from this because that money is going to run out. So the way I see it, and I haven't read this officially, but the way I see it, if it's limited funds, whoever signed up first is going to get access to the funds, and those monies are going to be spent or those monies are going to go out to those states soonest and fastest. And so what that means is kind of like it's a first come, first serve. So, if your state has yet to apply, I'm afraid, and I haven't read this officially, but, I'm afraid that some of those states may not get any money because this money was estimated to only last somewhere between 3 to 5 weeks. So if states are already paying out already, I don't know how much longer it's going to last, but just FYI. So hopefully Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate can come to an agreement way before that runs out, but we'll definitely see about that. So as you know, the Senate is now back from recess in Washington, hopefully working diligently on passing the next stimulus package, the next stimulus bill for us. Of course, that remains to be seen, but today is the 8th. It is the day after Labor Day, so we're expecting Congress to be making progress on the new negotiations. All right, guys, so we got several dates that are actually coming up on us pretty quickly. So we have the presidential elections that are coming up November 3rd. That's about 55 days out from now, so that's coming up pretty quickly. Pressure is definitely building. We can hear it from President Trump. We see it from the increased activity among the main negotiators, the top negotiators from the House and the Senate Republicans regarding this next stimulus package. And about 3 weeks from now, the federal budget deadline will be expired. And so multiple high-level deadlines are quickly approaching. And at this point, we're trying to close the gap on this stimulus negotiation. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin testified before Congress last week. It was actually last Tuesday. And during that testimony, he was asked to reach out to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi after the testimony to see about further negotiations. And he did that. One quote that actually came from Steve Mnuchin after that phone call was that the speaker has refused to sit down and negotiate unless we agree to something like a $2.5 trillion deal in advance. That's according to Steve Mnuchin. He said, as you know, we put $3 trillion into the economy when the economy was completely shut down, and we've now reopened the economy. Let's do a more targeted bill now, and if we need to do more in 30 days, we'll continue to do more. So the flexibility is definitely apparently there from the Republican side, but I don't see quite as much flexibility from the Democratic side. But hey, if you guys disagree with that, go ahead and drop me a comment down below. But that's just kind of what it seems like. Now, if you guys remember, the original offer from the House, from the Democrats, was $3.3 trillion bill. That was the HEROES Act. And the counter response to that was the HEALS Act from the Senate Republicans. That HEALS Act was $1 trillion bill. So at that point, we were $2.3 trillion apart. Now, since then, there's been negotiations. There's been a lot of communication recently in the last 2 to 3 weeks between Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi, as well as Mark Meadows. We've now bridged that gap so much closer to a point where the Republicans, the Senate, is actually up to $1.3 trillion. And the House of Representatives have actually come down from that 2.5, well, from 3.3 down to 2.5, and then recently down to $2.2 trillion. So now we're between 2.2 and $1.3 trillion. This creates a $900 billion gap in terms of negotiations, which is a lot closer than $2.3 trillion, which is originally where we were. But now, as recently as of Friday, President Trump said he wants to send out another round of $1,200 stimulus checks immediately. He said that Congress could send out stimulus checks immediately by unlocking $300 billion in the remaining virus relief funds. Now, if you guys remember, during the CARES Act, there was over $2.2 trillion of funding that has been allocated. Now, that money has not fully been spent. It's kind of like when you're sending your kids back to school. You know, you have a budget for school. Okay, we got a budget for school supplies, a budget for clothing, and maybe go grocery shopping at the same time. So let's just say hypothetically you had $500 budgeted for clothing, $200 budgeted for school supplies, and maybe $300 budgeted for the weekly groceries. Because, you know, while you're picking up school supplies, you went grocery shopping while you're out, right? Well, let's just say out of the $300 grocery budget, you only spent $250, right? So you got $50 unspent, but it was allocated. And then you had your school supplies, you had $200, but maybe you only spent $100. So now you have $100 left over out of the $200 that was allocated. And then let's just say for the clothing, for the school, for the kids' school clothing, you had $500 allocated. Maybe you found some great deals, great coupons. You only spent $350. So now you have an extra $150 from the unspent money that you planned to spend that was allocated for the kids' clothes. You have an extra $100 from the kids' school supplies, and maybe another extra $100 from the groceries. I lost count on all of that. But basically, let's just say out of the total budget you planned to spend, you spent under budget. So you had an extra $450 left over that you plan to spend. That's basically where we are right now. President Trump has identified $300 billion in unspent virus relief funds that he simply wants to reallocate from these previously determined categories and just send it to American people. And I think that's a great idea. If you guys disagree with that, drop me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys, but this is exactly what President Trump is suggesting that Congress do. I think that it's a great idea. And if we do this, then we would take that $900 billion gap in the negotiations, which is where we are right now. And if it's $300 billion, that shrinks that gap down to $600 billion. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, to go from $2.3 trillion in negotiation discrepancies down to potentially $600 billion, $600 billion is still no small change for you and I, but for the federal government, that's kind of like pennies. And so we're almost to a point where we're splitting hairs. If we can get to this point, I don't see why we can't get another stimulus check out to the American people, as well as extending the unemployment insurance benefits, which is also in discussions, which is in agreement from both sides. Both sides want to extend the unemployment insurance benefits. The only difference with that is that the House of Representatives want to see more like $600 per week, but the Senate wants to see more like $300 per week. But the idea about sending more unemployment support, which is the bonus on top of your state unemployment benefit, is actually being supported by both sides. So at a minimum, you should see another $300 per week. I think that that's what we should be seeing over the next couple of weeks. Directly from President Trump, he said, again, we have $300 billion ready to go. All Congress has to do is say, use it. If they say use it, I'd like to use it without their permission, but I guess, I'm not allowed to do that. I did ask that question, so Congress has to just say, use it. All they have to do is say, use it. Use it. $300 billion gets immediately put into our system and will help the American people. There's nothing else to do. Just a very quick statement. So President Trump has laid out his suggestion, and I think he's firmly pressing Congress to make this happen. This actually doesn't cost any more money than we've already spent. So at this point, it's not even a cost issue. The money is technically spent on the books, even though, it hasn't officially been spent. It's been allocated, kind of like our previous school example. So anyway, that's where we stand with regard to the second stimulus checks. I hope that made sense to you guys. I know some people were having a little bit of difficulty understanding the allocation aspect of the funding. But anyway, guys, that's all for this stimulus check update and stimulus package update. I really hope that you guys got some value out of this one. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, to make more content with regard to investing and how to make more money. You guys know that my financial freedom program's coming out here soon. Do you guys have any questions specifically related to investing? Because investing is kind of a very broad subject. So I want to help you guys out, but I want to make sure I'm creating content that's kind of answering your specific questions. So if you have any questions in particular, maybe you're trying to start a business and you don't quite understand, maybe what business to start to help you increase your income. Maybe you're brand new to investing. If you guys have any questions specifically about those things, I would love to hear from you guys, because I'd love to make more videos to be able to help you guys out to, improve your financial situations. That's the whole basis of this channel, to help you guys improve your financial status. So anyway, that's all for this stimulus check update and stimulus package update. If you guys got any value out of this video, do me a favor and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, turn on notifications. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.